Stories, songs, and smiles. That's what flowed through Memorial Hall today as friends of the late Jerry Springer celebrated his life.
So they came together some 6 weeks after the 79-year-old former mayor and one-time News 5 anchor died of pancreatic cancer. And WLWT News Vice John London, he was there and gives us now a look at what friends really wanted to convey about their friend today.
Well, certainly gratitude that they knew him and were part of his swirl, and in keeping what Springer would have wanted, mournful was not on today's program. Uplift was, hitting the high notes of life. It started with his own recording of the song Save Union Terminal and concluded with the traditional Down by the Riverside.
On the screen at Memorial Hall, the bookend photos of the late Jerry Springer. On the stage, his daughter Katie, who inherited his zest for life and love of baseball, faces in the crowd uplifted towards the stage as his sister Evelyn recounted the family's post-World War II migration to America. 6 weeks after his death, this had an old home week feel to it. Those who shared the responsibility of running a city.
He was one of those guys that he walked into a room, everybody kind of moved in that direction. And I don't know why people have that ability. Some people do, and he had it all.
And those who shared the responsibility of words into a microphone.
He was the TV newsroom father for all of us 20 and 30-something people, early 30s, and he was the best. He made it a fun place to work.
Springer's already forever enshrined as part of Cincinnati history. Lawmaker, mayor, TV news anchor, nightly commentator. Away from the limelight, he was as comfortable as an old shoe to his friends. No polish needed. And it rubbed off on banker Louis Beck.
Take care of yourself. Thank you.
The old shoe memories are now a perfect fit. There were testimonies to his generosity for charitable causes, countless donations of money and time. Paul Stuckey of Peter, Paul and Mary sent a musical video tribute. The stage filled with musicians who played his favorite folk songs. There was no need here for anyone to come up with a final thought. It was written some time ago and printed on T-shirts.
Jerry Springer was inspired early in life to advance civil rights, human rights, social justice, and part of what moved him in that direction was folk music. So that was a big part. That was a theme that his friends wanted to have in that program today.
I know Jerry would have loved you being there today and doing this story, John. And it was mentioned in the story, he did have that it factor. Some people just have that thing that sets them apart from others.
Yeah, he had it. He was like a magnetic force, yeah, almost, when he was in the newsroom back in those early years. People would be drawn to him to talk to him about the day's events, and it was just, I don't know, just ingrained in him.
I love the tone of this service today. Lots of laughing. The music was beautiful and just absolutely you felt like what he would want to be a part of. No Ave Maria, none of the sad stuff that we traditionally hear at memorials. This was all Jerry.
Yeah, it was sort of like the podcast that he did with Gene Galvin on Tuesday nights at the Coffee House, and loved the least portions of it were.
John, thank you for bringing the event today to all of us. That was really something special.